watching NBC.
Last year, a tradition was established when Milton Berle, Carol Burnett, George Burns, Walter Matthau, Red Skelton, and Jonathan Winters were all inducted into the Comedy Hall of Fame. This year, the tradition continues. Tonight, from the Beverly Hilton Hotel in Beverly Hills, California, it's the second annual Comedy Hall of Fame. And here to honor this year's Comedy Hall of Fame inductees are Brett Butler, Red Button, Kelsey Grammer, Phil Hartman, John Lovitz, Bob Newhart, Paula Poundstone, Rob Reiner, Dick Smothers, Tom Smothers, Sharon Stone, Robert Townsend, Dick Van Dyke, and Jonathan Winters. Ladies and gentlemen, here are this year's inductees into the Comedy Hall of Fame. Mr. Sid Caesar, Mr. George Carlin, Mr. Bob Hope, Miss Shirley MacLaine, Mr. Richard Pryor, and Miss Mary Tyler Moore. Ladies and gentlemen, Kelsey Grammer.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, and welcome to the second annual Comedy Hall of Fame. I'm not here in my professional capacity as Dr. Fraser Crane, although a good psychiatrist could make a fortune in this room. Even a bad psychiatrist make a fortune in this room. But... I'm here because of my love of comedy and my hope that one day I, too, might be inducted into the Comedy Hall of Fame. An event that becomes more or less of a possibility now that NBC has moved my time period. I just want to be in the Hall of Fame ahead of Tim Allen. I'm much more gracious than that. But anyway, in keeping with the evening and the spirit of this evening of camaraderie that fills this boisterous ballroom of bonhomie, the presenters love the honorees love each other, and I love Sharon Stone. There, okay, I've said it. Tabloids can do what they will with me. Wouldn't be the first time, anyway. Here to present our first honoree is one of the most honored and charming men in our profession, Mr. Dick Van Dyke.
Thank you kindly. And thank you, Kelsey. That's a lovely introduction. Good grammar. I am personally delighted to be here tonight to honor my own very favorite star, Miss Mary Tyler Moore. And at the same time, I'd like to put to rest, once and for all, the rumors, the innuendo, the gossip, and the just plain trash that's been floating around about this woman for years. I was working on the Dick Van Dyke Show for 177 episodes with Mary during the years these stories first began to crop up. I remember clearly our creator slash writer slash producer slash Carl slash Reiner saying one day to everyone within earshot, gee, that Mary is nice. Gee, that Mary is nice. Is there any phrase in the English language calculated to ruin a career like that one? But I'm here tonight to tell you that Carl Reiner was wrong about Mary all those years ago. Mary's bright, she's funny, she's charming, she's generous, she's delightful, witty, hilarious, uplifting, and cheerful. But nice? Never. She is the nicest person I have ever met in my life, and you can go sell that rumor to hard copy if you like. And now here's the real life, true life, honest to goodness, no kidding around, story of America's sweetheart, Mary Tyler Moore.
Well, I'm looking for life raw and real. I'm going to be an actress on the stage. Along with Lucille Ball and Carol Burnett, Mary Tyler Moore is part of an elite group of women who made television comedy what it is today.
Read it. All right.
Out loud!
Growing up in Southern California, Mary knew very early on she wanted to be a performer. Trained as a dancer, Mary first found work in commercials.
I'm Happy Hopwood.
Mary has relied on these dancing skills throughout her acting career, whether to inform specific roles or to help her develop her unique brand of physical comedy.
Hey, come on, baby. Let's you and I do a dance.
I don't know, Millie.
Mary quickly jumped from commercials to guest appearances on hit shows, including Hawaiian Eye and 77 Sunset Strip. Soon, she earned her first starring role as housewife Laura Petrie on the Dick Van Dyke Show, eventually winning 2 Emmys. It was here that her true talent emerged, the ability to combine wholesomeness and purity with a touch of mischievousness.
Yes. Would it make you happy if I burned them? Is that what you want? You just say the word, dear, and I will burn them.
Burn them.
No, sir, not if you're going to take that
And of course, Laura's famous phrase,
Oh, Rob! 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 Oh, Rob!
Oh, Rob.
as Mary branched out to the big screen, she revealed more and different facets of her talent.
Bitch!
Everything from playfulness to holiness, from romance to tragedy. In her Golden Globe winning and Academy Award nominated performance in Ordinary People, Mary showed extreme restraint as the mother of a family ripped apart by the death of a son.
I don't want to see any doctors or counselors. I'm me. This is my family. And if we have problems, then we will solve those problems in the privacy of our own home, not by running to some kind of specialist every time something goes wrong.
But Mary's most recognized work was with an ensemble cast known as the Mary Tyler Moore Show. Where Laura Petrie was the perfect 60s housewife, Mary Richard was the perfect liberated career woman of the 70s. Independent, yet vulnerable. Worldly, yet naive. She had the conviction of character to stand up for what she believed in, combined with a willingness to back down at any moment.
Well, I'll just have to go to jail, that's all. It's the right thing. It's the honorable thing. It's the only thing. There's just one problem. I don't want to go to jail. I'm afraid to go to jail. I've never been to jail, Mr. Grant. I never even had to stay after school.
Chuckles the Clown brought pleasure to millions. The characters he created will be remembered by children and adults alike. Peter Peanut, Mr. Fee-Fi-Fo, Billy Banana, and my particular favorite, Aunt Yoo-Hoo. And not just for the laughter that they provided. There was always some deeper meaning to whatever Chuckles did. Mr. Fee-Fi-Fo would always pick himself up. Dust himself off and say, I hurt my foot. And what did Chuckles ask in return? A little song? A little seltzer, Doctor.
Mary was more than just a funny character we spent time with every week. She was a very real and potent role model. And after 7 years, when the Mary Tyler Moore Show went off the air, we felt like we were losing a friend.
Mr. Grant? Could I say what I wanted to say now? Well, I just wanted you to know that sometimes I get concerned about being a career woman. I get to thinking my job is too important to me. And I tell myself that the people I work with are just the people I work with and not my family. Thank you for being my family.
Now for the hard part. How do we leave this room?
That's not so hard. Remember what Ted said?
What is that, Lou?
It's a long way to Tipperary. It's a long way to go. It's a long way to Tipperary, to the sweetest girl I know. Goodbye to Piccadilly. Farewell, Leicester Square. It's a long, long way to Tipperary, and my heart's right there. It's a long way to Tipperary. It's a long way to go. It's a long way to Tipperary, to the sweetest girl I know. Goodbye, Piccadilly. Farewell, Leicester Square. It's a long, long way to Tipperary, and my heart.
For all the reasons you've just seen, and thousands more, we're proud to induct into the Comedy Hall of Fame the very nice Miss Mary Tyler Moore.
I have been blessed with an abundance of brilliant and creative individuals who not only know what's funny, but also what is very human and universal. Carl Reiner, who dreamed up the characters and the situations for the Dick Van Dyke Show. Through Jim Brooks and Alan Burns, who brought a wide-eyed but spunky young woman to that mythical newsroom in Minneapolis. And the brilliant actors like Ed Asner, Gavin MacLeod, and Ted Knight, who became Ted Baxter to millions of viewers through his unflinching examination of ineptitude. Valerie Harper and Betty White, Cloris Leachman, who added needed spice to the sugary confection that I was representing. And of course, my dearest buddy, Dick Van Dyke. I must thank Grant Tinker, who gave up a promising future as a tennis bum to guide my career through the shark-infested waters of television. And a final thanks must go to the viewers who directly and remotely control the destiny of every performer. More often than not, you've given me the finger of approval. The thumb facing skyward. Thank you, Hall of Fame. Thank you, Dad and Bertie, and thank all of you for allowing me to become more than a pair of legs that talk.
The second annual Comedy Hall of Fame continues with the induction of Richard Pryor and Shirley MacLaine. Ladies and gentlemen, Robert Townsend.
The next honoree is Mr. Richard Pryor. I love you. Richard has certainly affected my life as well as affected the lives and careers of all young comedians. I didn't know how much he had affected these people's lives as well. White, black, red, yellow. Across the board, people are fans of Richard Pryor. Naturally, there are some who are closer to Richard than others, like the comedian who is here tonight to present the award to Richard this evening, Bob Newhart. Bob and Richard grew up in the hood together. They were homeboys. Bob's name when he was in the hood was Bobo. He and Richard robbed liquor stores together, dated the same women. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, here is Bob Bobo Newhart.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Richard, it's hard to believe when we were in the hood standing on the corner. That one day I would present you with this award, but who could have dreamed that would have happened? I'm obviously the obvious choice to present you with this award since we work so much alike. Seriously, Richard, when I heard that you were going to be honored by being inducted into the Comedy Hall of Fame, I asked if I could present that award because I don't know anyone who has been more influential in changing the face of American comedy than Richard Pryor. Everybody has their up and down days, and especially in the field of stand-up. But whenever I was having a down day, I'd like to listen to Richard Pryor. I loved your portrayal of the minister. I loved The Exorcist. I loved The Wino and the Junkie. But I must confess that Mudbone was my favorite. I think it transcends comedy and ranks with Mark Twain and Will Rogers in American literature. I really do.
I lived through hard times before. Like people talking about these as hard times. Hard times was way back. And they didn't even have a year for it, just called it hard times. It was dark all the time. I think the sun came out on Wednesday. So I happened to be out there one Wednesday, and the sun hit me right in the face. And I grabbed a bunch of it and rubbed it all over myself. I said, damn, that sun was a bitch. That's why they didn't want us to have none of it. Because it cheer you up inside.
Richard was born in Peoria, Illinois in 1940. These early years and much of his life were chronicled in his autobiographical film, JoJo Dancer, Your Life is Calling. A child of a broken home, Richard grew up in a brothel surrounded by pool halls, bars, and street characters who would appear later in his stand-up routines. When he was 11 years old, his high school teacher showcased him in a local production. Since that day, he hasn't stopped performing.
For the first time on television, Richard Pryor.
I'm going to tell you a few things about myself because a lot of you probably don't know me. I'm not a New Yorker. My home's in Peoria, Illinois. And I had a wild neighborhood, I got to tell you, because my mother's Puerto Rican and my father's Negro, and we lived in a real big Jewish tenement building in an Italian neighborhood. Every time I go outside, the kids say, "Get him, he's all of them."
For the next 10 years, Richard fought his way up through the nightclub circuit. Slowly, the establishment began to accept Richard, and eventually he broke through on talk shows such as Merv Griffin. During the next few years, Richard Pryor's style began to change dramatically.
And I think you're probably pretty ready for this job. We got one more Kind of psychological test we always do here. It's just a word association. I'll throw you out a few words. Anything that comes to your mind, just throw it back at me, okay? It's just kind of an arbitrary thing. Like if I said dog, you'd say...
Tree.
Tree. Dog?
Tree.
Fast?
Slow.
Rain?
Snow.
White?
Black.
Bean?
Pod.
Negro?
Whitey.
Tar baby?
What'd you say?
Tar baby?
Old Faye.
Colored?
Redneck.
Jungle bunny?
Peckerwood.
Burrhead?
Cracker.
Spear chucker?
White trash.
Jungle bunny?
Hunky.
Spade?
Hunky.
Nigger?
Dead hunky.
Eventually, motion picture producers and movie audiences discovered that Richard could bring his comic talent to the big screen. He starred in a number of feature films with comedians such as Bill Cosby, Eddie Murphy, John Candy, Jackie Gleason, as well as his good buddy, Gene Wilder. But it's always been the stage where he felt the most comfortable and creative. So comfortable was he with his stand-up that he became the first performer to release a major motion picture of his stage performance.
500 people live where I live, and they're brown. And I like that because you can sleep at night. You know, because you live around white people in the country, anything could happen. Not that I don't trust white people, it's just that in the night, you know what I mean? I don't know, something happens to white people, you start drinking, and when you hear one of them others go, you know what I mean, it makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. Because I know what's next.
As his popularity and career grew in his personal life, he began to self-destruct.
I wasn't even close to being normal. I was ignorant. I couldn't stop drinking till the bartender said, "We got no more liquor."
Richard became an alcoholic. He also became addicted to drugs. In the movie JoJo Dancer, he relived that desperate moment when he realized that if he kept using, he'd die. But if he stopped using, he didn't think he would live. Richard actually recreated that terrifying moment when he tried to take his own life by setting himself on fire. Many thought he would never live, but in true Richard Pryor style, he even joked about it later on stage.
I was watching TV one night, and they said I had died. I was bandaged up, and they said,
Richard Pryor died 5 minutes ago.
I'll tell you one thing, man. When that fire hits your ass, that will sober your ass up quick. I mean, I was standing there on fire, and something said, "Why, that's so pretty blue." You know what? That looks like fire! I want to say y'all gave me a lot of love when I was not feeling well, and y'all really, I appreciate it. Also, y'all did some nasty jokes on my ass, too. Oh, yeah, y'all didn't think I saw some of these. Since you love me so much. I remember this one. It strike the match like this one. Say, what's that? Richard Pryor running down the street.
It overwhelms me to think about how nice people, that so many people love me, you know. I just feel different about people. And I'd like to thank everybody that sent me stuff and wished me well, because I'm really glad to be alive.
Congratulations.
Bob, thank you. I love you, Bob. I remember when I was a kid, I stole your album. No, I did. It was Bob knew I just said nobody, I didn't have no money, so I stole it. I never thought that I'd be here being honored by this gentleman. And I'm so happy. I'm really happy about all of the night. Just all of it. Just being here. Thank you. God bless all of you. And I appreciate it.
Next, the Comedy Hall of Fame inducts Shirley MacLaine right here on NBC. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
Good evening, my fellow Americans. It's an honor for me to be here tonight, surrounded by comedians. Not that I'm not surrounded by comedians back in Washington. But the people you are honoring here tonight are different from the people back in D.C. It's their job to make people laugh. Tonight, I'd like to recognize the ladies who have made great strides in the field. Turn on your TV set and you can find some real tough but real funny gals in the sitcoms that are not only worth looking at, but worth listening to as well. I always did like that Candace Bergen. I'll tell you, when I hold those press conferences at the White House, I may be looking at Helen Thomas, but I'm thinking, Murphy Brown, Murphy Brown, Murphy Brown. And now I watch that Brett Butler on Grace Under Fire. Now, she plays a gal who's making it against all odds, raising a family by herself and holding down a job in a factory. And I think this country needs more take-charge women who can get lemons and make lemonade, who can run a household and run a business, and if need be, even run a country. Heck, my wife does. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Brett Butler.
Happy birthday to you. Wrong gig. Everyone in this room tonight and everyone watching has been influenced by someone along the way who loomed larger than life, someone who struck a resonant chord during, well, the most hopeless years of all, adolescence. You know that time when you know there's a whole lot wrong with the world, but you're not really smart enough to do anything about it? At the age when women were selecting heroes, role models, we were asked to choose between Gloria Stivic, Meathead's wife, and Gloria Steinem. Between Barbie, who only moved at the neck and the top of her legs, and Barbara Jordan, who moved bigots to nightmares. Well, while trying to sort out this bizarre dichotomy in my southern, deep-fried, over-analytical soul, along came Shirley MacLaine. She was cute, she was beautiful, she was funny, she was long-legged, she was political, and she didn't give a rat's ass about public opinion. She wrote, she sang, she danced, she bubbled, she climbed mountains, she meditated with spiritual entities, living and otherwise. She had phone sex with Henry Kissinger, the only kind I could imagine having. She cooked pasta for Frank Sinatra. She won an Oscar, walked through China, regressed through past lives, starred on Broadway, and got Bella Abzug into jogging shorts and running shoes. Besides all that, she's just a trooper and one hell of a smart broad.
A dancer at heart, Shirley MacLaine waited till the ripe old age of 2.5 before starting ballet lessons. By the time she reached high school, Shirley was already spending summers dancing in New York City. And in the Broadway production of Pajama Game, when an injured Carol Haney couldn't go on, the producers plucked an unknown 19-year-old from the chorus line to fill in. Shirley was an instant sensation. Producer Hal Wallace saw her on stage and immediately signed her to a movie contract.
Hold me close and say you're mine, with a love as warm as wine.
She proved to be a producer's dream. A chameleon who could tackle any role and assume any look. A chance sighting on a television special by Frank Sinatra and Vincent Minnelli led to her role in the movie Some Came Running. 2 things came from this movie: her first Oscar nomination and her introduction to the Rat Pack, a group of friends that included Frank Sinatra, Peter Lawford, Dean Martin, and Sammy Davis Jr. It was the early 60s. They were the kings of the Las Vegas Strip, and Shirley was their queen. They taught her how to smoke, how to drink, and how to cheat at cards. It was the beginning of a lifelong relationship. Suddenly, great roles were coming her way. She earned 2 more Academy Award nominations, playing opposite Jack Lemmon in The Apartment, and as a prostitute in Irma la Douce with Jack as her agent.
I want you to be better dressed than anybody else. I want you to have more money in your pockets. I want to be proud of you.
Irma, you don't understand. I never felt like this about anybody. But
That's why I'm going to work twice as hard for you as I ever did for any of the others.
5, 6, 7, 8, 5.
Along the way, Shirley never forgot her first love, dancing. In her heart, Shirley thinks of herself as a gypsy, a member of the chorus line, and she brought that dedication and work ethic to all of her projects. Whether in films like Can-Can and Sweet Charity, performing live on stages around the world, or in her television specials, which have won multiple Emmy Awards, Shirley has wowed her audiences.
Come along with me.
In her 31st film, The Turning Point, Shirley played a retired dancer wrestling with past choices. This film not only garnered her another Oscar nomination, but it also served as a metaphor. She was now an actress capable of both light comedy and complex dramatic roles of greater depth and maturity.
Not my daughter! You keep your damn hands off my daughter! The reason she came to me was because her mother wasn't there. Her mother was too busy screwing her head off. You bitch!
Shirley has said she cares more for life beyond the camera than for life in front of it. Throughout her career, she's been active in political and social issues at home and abroad. She opened herself up to us in her books, audio and videotapes, and shared her deepest thoughts and revelations about life and being and harmony. Obviously, she struck a deep chord because she has 13 million books in print.
What I was afraid of was that when I got into the investigation of these matters, that I would maybe lose my sense of humor. You know, because I thought, oh, it's so ponderous, it's so meditative, it's so calm and blissfully peaceful and stuff. But that hasn't happened to me either.
And she proved that with her cameo performance in Defending Your Life.
Welcome to the Past Lives Pavilion. Since we want to be fair and accommodate everyone, you will be limited to 5 past lives only. Thank you. The role I played in Terms of Endearment, you know, Aurora Greenway, I felt that I had either been a woman like that, God forbid, or that I knew a woman like that.
You know what killed me is that you had a relationship with your daughter where you could actually call her and tell her that you made it with Jack Nicholson. I can't believe it.
Listen, if I made it with Jack Nicholson, I'd call my own daughter.
Relax, baby.
Oh,
It's gonna be
just
great.
who do you think you're talking to like this? Don't you realize I'm a grandmother? It's not flattering to look too surprised.
Shirley's continued commitment to excellence has made her one of our most durable and versatile performers.
I'm not crazy, Malin. I've just been in a very bad mood for 40 years.
Remember my 17th birthday party when you lifted your skirt up in front of all those
I
people?
did not lift
including
my
that guy,
skirt.
Michael.
It twirled up. You only remember the bad stuff, don't you? What about the big band that I got to play at that party? Do you remember that? No. You only remember that my skirt accidentally twirled up.
And you weren't wearing any underwear.
Well,
Shirley said, life doesn't happen to us, we make it happen. That truth is the ultimate freedom and the ultimate responsibility. In her life, Shirley has lived up to that responsibility and revels in that freedom.
Yes, they could.
See me now, that little gang of mine. I'm eating fancy chow and drinking fancy wine. I'd like those stumble bums to see for a fact the kind of top drawer, first-rate chum I attract.
No one on earth can chase the blues and bring such fun.
Down with the riffin' rap, up with the other half. They'd never believe it if my land could see ya.
She's not the one and only. She's the many. Please, to the Hall of Fame, welcome Shirley MacLaine.
Thank you so much, Beth. I love you. I want you to know one thing. You are not only just carrying the comic torch, you're holding it right under Roseanne's butt. Thank you very much. I appreciate all the things that were in the clip and what Brett said about the way I influenced her with my books and things. I know that people have been laughing at me for years. I know it's because most of it centers around my belief in other dimensions. But Freud said, people often laugh at things they don't understand. At least that's what he said to me last night. But there's one thing that I do understand. I mean, I really understand it, and especially in this room tonight, and that's the pure power and energy of comedy. To be here in this room with all these people, all these different kinds of comics, it's extraordinary. And I was just listening to the lines that were flying back and forth back there at my table. I was sitting in between Mr. Hope and George Carlin, and someone leaned over and a comic, and the meal had just been served, and he said, "Why did God invent Gentiles? Somebody's got to buy retail." I love stand-up and all that. Comics have a serious side, of course, and I don't think that their humor always comes from pain or from unhappy childhoods. I think that humor must come from something way down deep that the artist doesn't even realize themselves or understand. If they could see the face behind the mask, perhaps they'd understand. They wouldn't have to ask, what is the force that makes the comic perform, to act in ways that seem so far from the norm? What makes him face the camera, makes him face the crowd, with nerves a bit unsteady, but with head unbowed, facing one cold, grim, hard fact. There's nowhere to hide if they don't laugh and love your act. What enables a comic to show up for work, knowing each night he might be facing some jerk who came to the club just to heckle and jeer, to screw up his timing and ruin his career? What enables an actress to come to the set, believing the camera is going to get every gag, every gesture, every subtle aside, and not knowing for months if her efforts have died? What courage it takes. What impossible grit to maintain and sustain a belief you're a hit when your agent, who loves you, now puts you on hold, and the club owner tells you your routines are too old. And you're watching young guys who began after you get shots on the talk shows, and you can't break through? What words of encouragement make you go on when common sense tells you your chances have gone? The words that sustain you are names from a list of others who made it, and so you persist. And you think of the legends like Skelton and Hope, who also had setbacks but learned how to cope. And they think if you're female, the course has been set by Lucy and Mary and Carol Burnett. And you think of the stand-ups who stood up and died before finding that voice that came deep from inside. Yes, those are your touchstones, your icons, your spur. That if it could happen to him and to her, there might be a chance it could happen to you. And wouldn't that be funny if dreams could come true? If you were born to wear the jester's cap and bells, there's no one who can tear you from those magic spells. You must commit to something deep in your heart to turn your wit and humor into an art. But you'll survive them, and the last laugh could be, the last laugh should be, the last laugh will be yours.
When we come back, Red Buttons gives us his list of people who have never been inducted into the Comedy Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Paula Poundstone.
Hey. How you doing? They had to take a quick break then, I don't know if you realize, because I was a little bit late, because Sharon Stone and I had come in the exact same dress. And we flipped for it, and I had to run like a bat out of hell, get back there and change. Part of what tonight is all about is that copies of the photographs and the clips and the material used tonight will go into a permanent collection for the New York Museum of Radio and Television and also the UCLA archives here in Los Angeles, so that future generations can study comedy. Apparently George Slaughter, the creator of the Comedy Hall of Fame, lives with a fear that a dark day is coming when people will forget what comedy is. We'll have only 24-hour programming of, like, Cops and Oprah and Sally Jesse Raphael interviewing lesbians connected at the head who were beaten as children and killed their parents and then went on to rehabilitate gang members using karaoke as an important tool. I think we all share that fear. Anyways, well, now, you guys, I'm just here for a second. I'm supposed to introduce Red Buttons, and then, honest to God, they drew me a diagram for how to exit. You know, you get a bad reputation in this business, and it sticks with you. Apparently, I had some sort of exit difficulty in the past. Apparently, that kind of information got around, and it's part of what's kept me out of the Hall of Fame up until this time. One of the gentleman keeping comedy alive and well in our hearts and in our minds and preventing the dreaded fear of George Slaughter is Red Buttons, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome him.
Thank you. Thank you. I gave already. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That was Hava Nagila, the hit song from that popular Israeli musical, The Phantom of the Knesset. The producer of this show, George Schlaughter, who is also producing the Faye Dunaway Salutes Andrew Lloyd Webber special. Anyway, he said, Red, I'd like you to come up with a couple of people, some of the biggies in the history of the world who never were inducted in the Hall of Fame. Never. Adam, who said to George Burns, Dad, can I have my allowance? Never got inducted, Sid, never got inducted. Dr. Kevorkian, who said, live and let live. Never got inducted. Geraldo, who made love to over 1,000 women without them realizing it. Never got inducted. Venus de Milo's mother, who said to Venus, what, you can't pick up a phone? Never got inducted. Dick never got inducted. Yasser Arafat, who would give you the shirt off his head. Never got inducted, Steve, never. Aladdin, who said to his wife, I know it's not a lamp, keep rubbing. She was cleaning the furniture at the time. I don't do dirty stuff up here. Roxanne, who said to Cyrano de Bergerac, I don't care what it is, put a condom on it. Never got inducted. I love all the inductees.
Coming up next, Sid Caesar enters the Comedy Hall of Fame.
Okay, cue. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the illegitimate son of Rob Petrie and Louise Reiner, Rob Reiner.
I'm here tonight to introduce a man who, in my opinion, is the greatest comic genius to ever appear on television. And his name is Sid Caesar. When I was 4 years old, and my father took me down to the Show of Shows when they were working. It was a rehearsal day. For some reason, I don't know why he had to babysit me. I mean, he had enough to do doing a show every week for 39 weeks a year. But I was there, and I remember being parked outside the writer's room. Sid probably won't remember this, but I remember, actually, as a 4-year-old, hearing very loud, crazy Jews screaming at each other and making each other laugh. And there was Mel Brooks and my father and Neil Simon and Larry Gelbart, all the great comic geniuses of the time and of all time. And the loudest and craziest and funniest Jew was Sid. Always. I mean, he was brilliant then, he is brilliant now, and this is like the greatest privilege of my life to be able to do this. Now let's look at the remarkable career of one of the true giants of comedy, Sid Caesar. In the 1950s, anyone who owned a television was certainly tuned into your Show of Shows and Caesar's Hour. These seminal productions revolutionized how television was made, and their influence is still felt today. Sid has always been a performer. Growing up in Yonkers, New York, he mimicked the voices of the immigrant factory workers who ate at his parents' diner. At 13, Sid was playing saxophone at clubs in the Catskill Mountains. And after his tour of duty with the Coast Guard during World War II, Sid joined his first show. But it was his work in television that let his talent flourish. From 1950 through 1958, Sid created and starred in 39 episodes a season. These were enormous live television shows presented on the scale of a Broadway production. In order to pull this off, Sid surrounded himself with the finest comic talent available. This included performers like Howie Morris, Nanette Fabray, and Carl Reiner.
I don't want you to dance like that. And that's fine.
Thank you. You're listening to me, Bobby. I have never been so angry in my whole life. Smile. I have never been so angry, and I could give you such a shot with your top of your narrow-minded head.
Professor, I wonder if you could tell me something. There's something that's been troubling me about interstellar gravitational relationships. Now, there is a gaseous vapor, I understand, between the ionosphere and the stratosphere that seems to be suspended there, even though there's no apparent terrestrial pull from any of the 12 orbits. Is this due to a self-contained terrestrial relationship, or is it because of the ionoscopic gaseous pressures that build up in the ionosphere?
You think this is infected here?
Sid and his wife Florence have been married for over 51 years. But another important woman in his life is Imogene Coca. When Sid and Imogene worked together, they were magic.
Jeffrey was a spoiled son of a wealthy family. I couldn't stand it any longer. I said, take back your diamonds and your rubies and your sapphires.
Despite the fabulous material and the incredible cast, there was no question that the true comic genius was Sid Caesar. His characters, his timing, his dialects, they all combined to produce some of the most memorable moments in television history. But it's when you take away the sets and the costumes, the co-stars and the writers, and put the man alone at center stage that you can fully appreciate his brilliance. Television viewers knew it for the first time they saw him in 1949. And this is the first time since then that his debut will be seen on network television. This is America's introduction to Sid Caesar.
10 years ago, when $5 was the bankroll, you took your girl out for a big time, the town was really yours. So let us look into the case of a fellow or girl that takes the place Manhattan, the year 1939. Hello, baby. You better get ready. I'm coming down to get my steady. We'll do the town, and baby, we'll rock it. 'Cause I've got $5, and it's burning a hole in my pocket. Taxi, yes, sir. Café La Paix, anything you say. Here we are, Café La Paix. Hello, Pierre. Chantez, madame. Et monsieur Gilles Poncer et du genre de Sepurel. Madame Kissorand. Monsieur Kishutu. Gilles Poncer et du genre de Saint-Pierre, you do me honor to come to my place. Les foncières du champion ou la caviar, compliments to the house. Les gens redescendent plutôt, dirait, imported cheese, compliments to the house. Les gens redescendent, dirait, leur petit de foie gras, compliments to the house. Les rositaires, like two martinis, mangez, madame, monsieur, mangez, madame. To us. Pierre check is all arranged, 40 cents. Well, keep the change. Merci, monsieur, you make no sleep. 10 cents. Quel type! Oh, merci, monsieur, merci beaucoup. Je vais porter à reddition passible. Come back again. Taxi! Yes, sir! Take us to Luigi's Grotto. What's the say? What's that, Romano? Here we are, Luigi's Grotto. Hello, Luigi. Angelina, look what's come. Customer. Oh, signore, signorina. Buonasera. Quando mangiando, Luigi. Cambiando po' di cambiando da. Tony, go get the best Chianti. Oh, sit down, signori, signorine. What a meal, just a minute. Luigi, check. 90 cents. 90 cents? Oh, that's it for two. Well, here's a buck. Thank you. She's come in at last of my ship. Hey, Angelina, a 10-cent tip. Grazie, signor, grazie, molto bene, grazie. Quando la mangiano, come back again. Taxi! Yes, sir! To the Strand at your command. Here we are. Here's the Strand. Step right up. Step right up. Immediate seating in all parts of the theater. No waiting for seats at any time. On the stage, we have Benny Goodman, Bing Crosby, Bob Hope, Jack Benny, and that ain't all. 3 dishes, silverware, crockery, china, Irish chairs, screeno, bingo, bango, lotto with chance to win $50. All seats, 25 cents. Free turkeys, free cheese. Buy your tickets, please. We hit the town, and did we rock it? I had $5, and I've still got change in my pocket. That was the date of 1939. I'm the same boy, the same girl, on the same date today. Hello, baby. You better hurry, because there's the worry. You won't be able to get a table. I'm coming down. I'm coming fast. Got 2 months' pay, and I hope it'll last. Backseat, hey, wherever you're going, I'm not going that way. Oh, please, Mr. Police, yes, okay, yeah, I'm getting soft, I guess. Well, here we are. Am I still alive? $4. Here's 5. Keep the change. I can't wait. $1 tip, you cheapskate. Bling, 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 bling. See me be glad to see them dressed up on a kind of late. What is this, a marathon or a date? Backseat, hey, where you going? Cafe La Playa, I ain't going that way. Well, be so good as to drop us off in the neighborhood. Okay, get in. Hello, Pierre, you look great. Back in line, 1 hour wait. Oh, gee, this is a $10 tip. It's a merci, monsieur. Back in line. Oh, gee, let's go to the bar. 2 martinis. What do you think you are? Pardon me, get off my foot. Put your push, cool, shove it. I'm having a good time today. I don't want to fight, Bobby. Let's get out of here. It's too crowded in here. Hello, Luigi. You look fine. You got my table in the back of the line. You want a table? Maybe it's maybe there's a 2 hour wait. Bobby, let's go to the Strand. All right, get in line, waiting for all seats. Waiter, say, what's playing? What's the difference? 4 hour waiting. Come on now. Get your money ready. $4 off to $7 low. Get in line. Where's the line? Just keep walking till you find it. They're all thankful. It's not my fault. It's my fault either. Look at me. 1 mark name. 2 just like an I. You said I was dressed up and goes $200. How do you spend the fortune? I got nothing. Listen, I got those 2 hours. Playing around with you. No, yeah, it was 5. What a lousy night. That's the day that Manhattan.
Is honored to welcome the king of comedy, Sid Caesar.
Thank you very much. You know how precious an hour is? Now how important an hour is. An hour goes by with the speed of light, 186,000 miles per second. Now say you're having a beautiful now. You're having a wonderful now. You're having a lovely now. You're having a precious now. You want to hold on to this now forever. But no matter how much you want to hold on to that now, it's going to be a was. That's what happens to nows. They become wases. But say you're having a terrible now. You're having a horrible now. You can't wait for this now to be over. You're going to have a bad was. And a lot of people, they get stuck in that cycle. Bad now, bad was. Bad now, bad was. But there's a way to break that cycle. Where? In the gonna be. Say you're having a beautiful now. You're going to have a lovely was. And what is a was? A was is a memory. And what is life made up of? Life is made up of wases, memories. But if you have a bad now, you're going to have a bad was. There's no way out of that. Bad now is a bad was. And a lot of people, they hang on to those bad wases. And they keep carrying those bad wases around them. They want to get revenge. And those bad wases, they start to get heavy. And they start to decay into shoulda, couldas. I shoulda, I could, I shoulda, coulda. And they never have time for the new now. But you must remember that the best of times is now. Thank you very, very much.
tuned for George Carlin's induction into the Comedy Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, the Smothers Brothers.
Thank you very much. My brother and I would like to thank the American Comedic Academy of Comedy Awards Selection Committee and the Board of Trustees who make this occasion so wonderful. Tonight marks the golden anniversary of the Hall of Fame, 50 years of honoring the comedy greats.
The
This
comedy,
great moment-
the Comedy Hall of Fame is not 50 years old.
It's the golden anniversary of the Comedy
It's
Hall
not the
of Fame.
golden, it's no, just forget it. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, this is the second annual Hall of Fame event, this is. And we would like to acknowledge one of the inductees from last year's program,
Mr. Jonathan Winters.
Thank you very much. I'd like to talk just cover a brief little thing about the award. Everybody's talked about the individuals, and rightfully so. But nobody has really looked at the award. I did this to my wife. I said, look at the award. It's like a wonderful spear. You know, it's a crystal thing. I just want to, those people who are being inducted this evening, don't think it's a joke. Don't put it up in the attic. If you have an attic, don't put it up there. It'll just gather dust. A rat will try to get at it or something. Quake will destroy it. Put it in your living room. Or if you're an out-of-the-work actor in a Winnebago, put it in some section of the Winnebago. At any rate, put it where they can see it and point to it and say, damn it, I'm in the Hall of Fame, you know, for a comic. I'm very proud of my award. I haven't received many, but I got a couple of them, damn it, and it's a gas. I don't thank Mom or Dad. They said I wouldn't cut it. You know that wonderful thing about Mom and Dad believing in you? Forget it. They didn't believe in me. I could have put them down when they were 40. But I didn't. Shovels at Sears were expensive in those days. Above all, don't put it in the kitchen. I'll tell you why. Many of us have a cat, you know. We got one. And we don't have a dog, but that's another story. We fell on hard times a few years ago. Rascal's collar's there, though. At any rate, a kitty thinks it's a pole. You know, they'll scratch that thing. It's not a pole. Crystal. And if he can't get a little action that way, he'll turn around and spray it. And the thing turns amber. Thank you.
I don't think many of you know this, but over 30 million visitors have toured the Hall of Fame last year.
That's not
and
true.
Even more are expected this coming year.
That's not true. That's not true, Tom.
A lot of it's true. And all of tonight's inductees have agreed to make weekend appearances at the Hall of Fame Theater for the rest of their natural lives.
That's not true either.
A lot of it's true.
None of the inductees are obligated
They're
to make an
obligated to get the award to make
No,
the
they're obligated to
There's an open mic night, and I know that on Thursday nights, I know Bob Hope will show up. He likes to do that.
No, Tommy, none of them are going to do that. And another thing, how many did you say appeared last year?
I said at the Hall of Fame, the
attendance,
actual Hall of Fame, I said it's 30 million visitors.
Are you sure the figure is correct? 30 million?
Absolutely, 30 million
That's
visitors.
more than went to Disney World.
Amazing, isn't it? Many of the all-time comedy greats, including Jimmy Durante, Lucille Ball, and Jack Benny, are enshrined in the Hall of Fame, actually entombed there, and it's very difficult to get in and impossible to get out. It's a beautiful building, has a nice cafeteria. If you order pie, they throw it in your face.
Tommy, none of that's true. None of it's true.
A lot of it's true.
None of it is true.
Be that as it may, it's not important. What is important is the Hall of Fame.
What is important is why we're here. And ladies and gentlemen, we're here to honor George Carlin. And you can't talk about George Carlin without mentioning the famous case where George tried to educate us about the 7 words that couldn't be used on television.
What 7 words you couldn't? What 7 words?
There was just 7 words. In his album, the Class Clown entered territory that no one has ever explored.
What are these 7 words?
Just 7 words, Tom. There were 7 words.
I was just wondering what the 7 words.
One of George's famous characters also was the hippy dippy weatherman.
Well, it was one of the words you couldn't say.
George Carlin joined up with straight man Jack Burns for also a successful stint as a comedy team.
Well, was it? Was it?
Yes, it was, Tommy. And it's still not, it cannot be said on television today.
Oh,
Ladies and gentlemen, now let's take a look at George Carlin.
I have certain rules I live by. My first rule, I don't believe anything the government tells me. Nothing. 0.
George was the son of a public speaker, and from the age of 2 was raised in Harlem by his mother, who he says had a great influence on his life.
She could come home from a bus ride and do 7 characters on the bus and tell you a terrific story with a punchline.
George used these skills to get the attention and approval of his friends. But friends could not make up for the absence of his mother at home, and George turned to the radio for companionship.
There were shows like Fibber McGee, which was comedy, shows that were what you'd call situation comedies on radio. And they had these families and these small towns and the sense of family and community. And that was my sort of extended imaginary family. That's what I belonged to. Radio was a way for me to have some people to hold on to.
So it is no wonder that when he quit school after the 9th grade and joined the United States Air Force, his first job was that of a disc jockey. This fulfilled phase 1 of the master plan for his life, which he had drawn up at the age of 11. Following these blueprints, he eventually teamed up with newsman straight man Jack Burns and became a comedian. The team was very successful, and a few years later, George was ready to move on to the next phase of his plan, television.
See, my dream was to be like a Danny Kaye or a Bob Hope or a Red Skelton, to be in the movies and be funny. And in order to get into sitcoms or movies and be this kind of comic actor that I wanted to be, I figured I've got to play their game. I've got to be one of their guys. I've got to go along to get along. So I did a sort of, I think, of a superficial comedy. I think it was good, and I think it made some good points along the way. But compared to what I was sort of feeling in here, it was a bit skimming on the surface.
In the late 60s, George felt that he needed to move in a new direction.
I began to be more true to myself in my material. I let my hair grow, I let my beard grow, and I realized in the beginning of that process that I was entertaining the wrong people. I was entertaining the mothers and fathers of the people I really had sympathy for, which was the youth culture of the time. It was just a thing that I had to return to the guy underneath the suit and the tie.
Determined to do so, George became more outspoken and more political.
I really haven't seen this many people in one place since they took the group photographs of all the criminals and lawbreakers in the Ronald Reagan administration. Another thing you got to remember, this is the group of people who were elected with the help of the moral majority. Elected with the help of the moral majority and the Teamsters Union. That's a good combination. Organized religion and organized crime working together to help build a better America.
George Carlin has given new meaning to the phrase anti-establishment. His unrestrained criticism of bureaucracy received worldwide attention in 1972 when his routine about the 7 dirty words led to his arrest in Milwaukee. But rather than stopping him, this only provided him with choice material for his stand-up routine.
The FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, decided all by itself that radio and television were the only 2 parts of American life not protected by the free speech provisions of the First Amendment to the Constitution. I'd like to repeat that because it sounds vaguely important. The FCC, an appointed body, not elected, answerable only to the president, decided on its own that radio and television were the only two parts of American life not protected by the First Amendment to the Constitution. And why did they decide that? Because they got a letter from a minister in Mississippi. A Reverend Donald Wildman in Mississippi heard something on the radio that he didn't like. Well, Reverend, did anyone ever tell you there are two knobs on the radio? Of course, I'm sure the Reverend isn't that comfortable with anything that has two knobs on it. But hey, Reverend, there are two knobs on the radio. One of them turns the radio off, and the other one changes the station. Imagine that, Reverend. You can actually change the station. It's called freedom of choice, and it's one of the principles this country was founded upon. Look it up in the library, Reverend, if you have any of them left when you finish burning all the books.
Despite the controversy surrounding his new style of comedy, George's popularity escalated far beyond the youth of America. He became a favorite guest on many television shows.
Well, this next one, George Carlin, I'd like to see a lot because he's really creative and really unique and toggles your brain.
Well, George?
Yeah.
How are things in general?
Pretty good. I feel great these days. I'm showering with new zest, and I have none of that sticky film.
He was the first host of Saturday Night Live.
There's a good example, a better example of our kind of self-centeredness when it comes to God. When we put a statue of Jesus on the dashboard, instead of having him looking out and watching for traffic, which is what he should be doing, we have him watching us drive. Hey! Watch this, Jesus, left turn! Don't worry, the universe is in balance because Jesus has a statue of a middle-class American hypocrite on his dashboard, so...
He has appeared in a number of motion pictures and makes children laugh as Mr. Conductor in PBS's Shining Time Station.
George just doesn't push the envelope. He opens it, rips it apart, stomps on it, burns it, then smokes it. He's most at home on stage where he uses his comedy as a tool to educate, manipulate, and entertain us all. And when he explains his frustration with television journalism and tabloid news shows, he strikes a chord in all of us.
I watch television news for one thing and one thing only, entertainment. That's all I want from the news, entertainment. You know my favorite thing on television? Bad news. Bad news and disasters and accidents and catastrophes. I want to see some explosions and fires. I want to see blowing up and bodies flying around. I want to see people, I want to know there's some guy running through the Kmart with an automatic weapon firing at the clerks. I want to see thousands of people in the street killing policemen. I want to hear about a nuclear meltdown. I want to know the stock market dropped 2,000 points in one day. I want to see people under pressure. Sirens, flames, smoke, bodies, graves being filled, parents weeping, exciting. My kind of TV. I just want some entertainment. It's just the kind of guy I am. It's the kind of guy I am. You know what I love the most? When big chunks of concrete and fiery wood are falling out of the sky and people are running around trying to get out of the way. Exciting. That's why I watch auto racing. That's the only reason I watch auto racing. I'm waiting for some accidents, man. I want to see some cars on fire. I don't care about a bunch of redneck jack driving 500 miles in a circle. 500 miles in a circle? Children can do that, for sakes. Doesn't impress me. I want to see some schmuck with his hair on fire running around punching his own head, trying to put it out.
In addition to his stage performances and television specials, George entertains us every week in his own sitcom.
Hey, listen, don't you watch Matlock? Listen, don't you understand what's... Huh? What? My credit cards. Nothing wrong with my credit card. Oh, the charges. Wait. When am I supposed to... And where did I make these alleged purchases? No. The complete name of that place is the Pussycat All-Nude Sex Act Peep Show Massage Parlor and Discount Warehouse. I do my shopping there. No, well, I've rented a few videos. I've never actually purchased any mechanical devices, attachments, or electrical equipment. Yeah, listen, why don't you just send me a list of these charges, and I'll check off the ones that didn't cause severe chafing. Okay, goodbye. I can't believe it, Miles. I got horny talking to that guy.
George Carlin has reached the top by constantly pushing the limits, challenging his audience, and risking disapproval. And in doing so, he has gained the respect of us all. Because whatever the consequences, he has always remained true to himself.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. George Carlin.
Thank you very much. About 2 years ago, when George Schlatter first told me about his idea for a Comedy Hall of Fame, I said to him, George, this is the kind of thing comedians should be making fun of. I mean, a Hall of Fame for people whose job it is to ridicule and make fun of others. So this year, when I got a call, and they told me they actually wanted to induct me into this Hall of Fame, I thought, what a fine idea. What a fine idea, and what an interesting concept. A Hall of Fame to honor those of us who ridicule and make fun of others. So, having done my share of ridicule, I would rather use this occasion to thank a few people. And first of all, the comedians who inspired me, especially beginning with the radio comedians, almost all of them, but in particular, Henry Morgan, Fred Allen, and Spike Jones. All of these names are important to me. I'm going to say them slowly. You don't have to acknowledge them all at the moment if you don't want, but they all mean something to me. In the movies, the Marx Brothers, the Ritz Brothers, Danny Kaye, Bob Hope, Red Skelton, Martin and Lewis. On television, Sid Caesar, Ernie Kovacs, Steve Allen, and Red Buttons. And I certainly can't forget Bob and Ray, Stan Freberg, and Mad Comics. Then, that was the childhood set. Then there was my second set of inspirations, the stand-up comedians of the 1950s, the ones who turned comedy around and changed it forever. People who opened doors for people like me and Richard. Lenny Bruce, Mort Saul, Shelley Berman, Jonathan Winters, Nichols and May, Dick Gregory, Bob Newhart, and the great, great, great Lord Buckley. Now, each of the comedians I've mentioned was important to me. Each one of them showed me something a little different about comedy, something that I needed to know. And I thank them all for that. I also want to thank the man who was my comedy partner when I began my career, Jack Burns, formerly of the exciting young comedy team Burns and Carlin. And I had 2 great years with Jack, and he taught me quite a few things as well, most of which are better left unreported. But during those 2 years, I met the other person whom I must thank. I've never had the opportunity to make this kind of speech, so this is long overdue. I met my wife, Brenda, 35 years ago in a nightclub in Dayton, Ohio. And the second thing that attracted me to her was her sense of humor. And she has taken every step of this trip with me. In the beginning, she sat in the back of those bad nightclubs and had to watch my second show when the 12 people in the audience had already seen my first show, and I was forced to do the B material. She gave birth to our miraculous daughter, Kelly, who once slept on the stage right near me all through a show I did in a college in Georgia. She was 9 years old. Kelly, not Brenda. And then in 1970, when I discovered I had to follow my heart and go from a suit and tie to a beard and jeans and take a pay cut of about 80%, Brenda never blinked. Never blinked, even though it meant walking away from the purchase of our very first home, which was in escrow at the time. And you know what she said? When I told her what I wanted to do, she said, I'm going to make up your new press kit. She's the best I could ever have wished for. So, Brenda, Thank you. Thank you. And Brenda, as they say on these occasions, half of this belongs to you. And I promise you, later on, when we sell this thing, I'll split the money with you. Thanks, everybody, very, very much. Thank you.
Bob Hope is next when he is inducted into the Comedy Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, Sharon Stone.
Good evening. Last year I was here as the date of George Burns, who is 97 years old, and it was one of the best dates of my life. It ended a little early, but that's because I had to get up the next morning. This year, I'm here to help honor a man who's much younger than Mr. Burns. His name is Leslie Towns Hope. And now, here's a friend of mine who has been in a lot of movies. He used to be live on Saturday night. I hear he's pretty live the rest of the week, too. Mr. John Lovitz.
Thank you very much. Oh, sit down.
Hi, John.
Oh, hello, Sharon. What are you looking at? Perfection?
I'm sorry, it's just I've always had kind of a crush on you.
Oh, well, I understand. You're only human.
Marry me.
No. Well, maybe. Oh, hello. You know Mrs. Lovitz.
Now, Johnny, be nice. And if you can't be nice, be funny.
I'll be saving this. Well, I am truly honored to help induct Bob Hope into the Comedy Hall of Fame. How can you summarize a man's career of 70 years in 5 minutes? The answer is, you can't. And now on to the next inductee. Mary Tyler Moore was a gal with a dream. To have one name. It never happened. And now on to the next inductee, Sid Caesar, and now back to Bob Hope. When I was 13 years old, I decided that I wanted to be a comedian, just like my idol, Woody Allen. And then I discovered Woody Allen's idol had been Bob Hope. And I thought, well, if he's good enough for Woody, he's good enough for me. And so I set out to imitate Bob Hope. And the next thing you know, boom, I'm sleeping with Dolores. How to be like Bob. The next thing I knew, I was entertaining the troops overseas. It was Vietnam. I was 6 years old. Well, that's what I told the draft board. Bob brought me on stage, and he introduced me to the audience. 100,000 people roared. And as they quieted down, you could hear the sounds of guns firing and bombs thundering in the distance. And suddenly a hush fell over the crowd. And Bob, he pointed to the audience, God bless him, and he whispered in my ear, "Hey, John, is it me or is that Sun Yi?" And I said, "Well, it doesn't look like you. That guy next to her sure looks like Woody Allen." But all joking aside, it was Woody Allen. Oh, I know what you're thinking. So that's how they met. Who knew? No, not who knew, Sun Yi. I know what you're thinking. What does this have to do with Bob Hope? The answer is nothing. Now let's take a look back at the incredible career of Bob Hope. Bob Hope's career parallels the evolution of 20th century comedy. From vaudeville to radio to movies to television, Bob has mastered each medium. Born in England in 1903, Bob's family soon after emigrated to the United States and settled in Cleveland, Ohio. The fifth of 7 sons, Bob got his start in vaudeville as a song and dance man. After hoofing it around the Midwest for a few years, Bob moved to New York City, and by 1932, he was appearing on Broadway.
To go walking, dear, it's delightful, it's delicious, it's lovely.
Bob met and fell in love with Dolores Reed, a nightclub singer. They've been together ever since and are parents to 4 children. In 1934, Bob made his first film appearance in a short entitled Going Spanish.
'Cause I bring you candy every day and nuts to you.
But it was his success on radio that caught Hollywood's attention. Tuesday nights became Hope Nights. The national exposure that radio brought him increased his popularity in film. Bob's first major motion picture won an Academy Award, but not for Bob's acting, an oversight. It was for a song that he sang, and it became his personal anthem.
Thanks for the memory of rainy afternoons, swingy Holland tunes, motor trips and burning lips and burning toast and prunes. How lovely it was.
Bob starred in more than 50 feature films and did cameos for 15 others.
Oh, Mike, you know I love you. I loved you ever since the first time I saw you, Mike. Way off the carpet, I tell you.
The movies that had the greatest impact on his career were the road pictures with Bing Crosby and Dorothy Lamour.
Hello, boys. You new in town? Yeah. Join me in a drink? Don't mind if we do. What'd you have? Oh, a couple of fingers of rot gut. What's yours?
I'll take a lemonade. In a dirty glass. We make a perfect pair. Put it there. My colleague. My crony. My cohort. My friend. Companion. Confederate chums to the end. Like meat and potatoes. Or salt and tomatoes. Boy, what a plan. Don't put it in the paper. Don't put it on the air. Don't put it on the shelf. Put it there.
Radio and movies made Bob a star, but it was television that made him a superstar. At the first commercial television broadcast on the West Coast in 1947, Bob was there. Soon he was starring in his own television specials and making guest appearances on other shows.
You're the most wonderful husband in the whole world. Did you miss me today, Ricky?
See?
Don't deserve it. Thank you. Very happy to be back again on television. This is television, isn't it, huh? I do want to take this opportunity to thank all you wonderful people who wrote in the thousands of letters after the first show. Also the 3 who mailed them. And, you know me. Well, when I'm not blessing the masses, I'm not that easy to recognize. That's why I carry this.
You know your seams are crooked.
That shows how much you know. I'm not wearing stockings.
For over 55 years, Bob has hosted the world's greatest singers, dancers, and comedians on his NBC radio and television specials. Despite his constant ribbing, Bob has been respected and befriended by every president since Roosevelt. He has also been honored by them for his patriotism in action.
It's been one of the rarest honors given to Americans, and it's a great pleasure for me, on behalf of the Congress, to present this to you.
Got a splendid picture of you. I hope everyone had a chance to look at it and present it to you on behalf of the people of the United States. Thank you very much, Mr. President. I actually don't like to tell jokes about a thing like this because it's one of the nicest things that's ever happened to me, and I feel very humble. Although I think I have the strength of character to fight it,
Bob has been committed to doing the thing he loves most, entertaining our troops in the USO. Disregarding personal safety, Bob has worked tirelessly around the globe, in wartime and at peace, to boost the morale of our troops.
Hello, advisors. Here we are in Bien Hoa. Here we are in Seoul, Korea. We are right off the coast from Beirut. Now, I have real good news for you. I want to tell you guys the country's behind you 50%.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's final honoree, Mr. Bob Hope.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Sharon, nice of you to come up and help us. Isn't she beautiful, huh? See, I'm at that age where I have to ask. It's a great check being here. It's just a wonderful, wonderful thing. I saw Phyllis Diller, and she looked great. She's here wearing her original skin, and I think it's just a great thing. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed this show, seeing all that talent, that wonderful talent, and I appreciate your efforts. Thank you very, very much. Thank you.
Stay tuned. There's more coming on the second annual Comedy Hall of Fame.
You've been enjoying the Comedy Hall of Fame on NBC.
I think it's a little too late to save the show, but I'd like to do a few minutes about the Comedy Hall of Fame, but I have a problem, I'll tell you the truth. Right now, I feel like Jacques Gabor's sixth husband. I know what I'm supposed to do, but how do you make it interesting? Here's another one you may not care for. Now, I just don't want to stay on too long, but I want to tell you how happy and thrilled I am of all the new inductees. I want to wish them good health and continued success, and may you carry on and on. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming this evening.
And we'll see you all next year at the 3rd Annual Comedy Hall of Fame. Good night.
Good night, everyone.